right, we're taking a break to watch the Super Bowl ads. Did you watch the Super Bowl, Zach?
I did not watch the Super Bowl. I usually do, but not this year. I actually had to just Google who won, and the Eagles won. I have a friend who had like he made a bet on the Eagles to win at the beginning of the year. So that paid out like 10x or like 15x or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, the ads are interesting. Obviously, these are some of the highest budget, most shared ads, but yeah, nah.
I love Super Bowl ads. I love traditional advertising a lot, and I usually go down the rabbit hole of all the Super Bowl ads. I haven't yet this year yet, so I'm excited to kind of dive into these and see what people came up with.
Yeah, it's rad, hey. I feel like every ounce of marketing genius is being compressed into this moment. And I think probably the most fun part about it for me, apart from the really good ads, is sometimes even with all of the experts, it's a swing and a miss, right? It's just
100%.
Yeah. All right, so let's get started. Let's watch these ads. This first one is from Uber Eats.
It has been a banner year for the National Football League. Or should I call it the National Football League? From the very beginning, football has been a conspiracy to make us hungry.
And we'll call this a pigskin. Make people crave bacon.
Bacon.
Everybody loves bacon. I love bacon.
They'd do anything to sell food.
Coach, how come we only play on Sundays?
Because nobody's eating ice cream Saturdays, kid. Jeez.
So the Packers were named after meat packers.
So what's we call the fans, Coach?
Cheeseheads. Of course. Why do you think Buffalo got a team?
These wings deserve a team.
Yeah. I figured out a good team name for Buffalo, Bill. Buffalo. Buffalo.
And their biggest game? Come on. Our championship will be a Super Cup. Can't eat out of a cup, Ted, but a bowl? How about a Super Bowl?
And we'll start naming players after appliances.
Hey, Coach, do I have to be called refrigerator?
Yes. And Peyton? He was a beef salesman.
Omaha!
Steak.
Omaha!
Steak. And they're still playing us. This year, we're not even hiding it anymore. We have Super Bowl licks. With a halftime show presented by an apple. In a stadium named after a salad.
Matthew.
Yeah. Hey.
Sorry, sir. You want me to make a movie about a football conspiracy?
Yes.
No.
Come on, Greta.
No.
Bacon's in.
Everybody loves bacon.
No one believes that football is just some conspiracy to sell
Food! When football makes you hungry, order Uber Eats.
I'm a huge Matthew McConaughey fan. Like big Matthew McConaughey fan, so that gets points. The actual narrative of the commercial is too long. Honestly, wasn't entertaining, in my opinion. Like, imagine if that was anybody but Matthew McConaughey, how fucking horrible that would be. And then the number one thing I think that they did well was include just like interesting people that made sense for each scene. The one that stood out for me was the guy from like Hot Ones as like a cameo. I think you've seen, I saw a couple sort of like clips about Super Bowl ads this year, and it was like very much like a recurring theme of including influencers in commercials as like secondary characters, just to get the eyeballs and get kind of that lift from being like that fan base being like, oh my God, I just saw my favorite influencer or whatever in this ad. So I think they did that well. I think the narrative and the storytelling was horrible. It had a bit of like a nice reveal at the end where it was like, oh, like this was just all in his head. The story was just fucking boring.
I like the small things, all of the consecutive scenes of Matthew McConaughey laughing. And for some people, that's all you need to start laughing is hearing somebody laugh. Yeah, I think they're definitely riding on how charismatic Matthew McConaughey is, because you put pretty much anyone else in that place and it wouldn't be quite as fun, right?
But I feel like those scenes didn't play for like how dynamic of like a person he could have been, you know? Like it was kind of him just like assuming these different roles, waltzing around, and yeah, he has like an allure to him, but like imagine if there was more like punch. That I think the story needed to be compressed and there needed to be more punch.
Yeah, would you buy it? Would you buy Uber Eats after watching that ad?
I mean, I buy Uber Eats when I'm too lazy to cook. It has nothing to do with watching the ad. Like, and then that's the other thing with this ad is like it doesn't really touch on the reason why anyone like uses Uber Eats.
Another question: if you were part of the team that made this ad, would you be proud of it?
Yeah, we work with Matthew McConaughey, whatever. No, but like, if I were to watch that, and let's just say I did everything in that ad, I would have said, let's go back to the editing bay and like make it 40% shorter.
Right. I guess one more question. Do you think this would work as a Facebook ad?
No. Like, okay, how could you adapt this to be a Facebook ad?
Well, I think you're on it with, it has to be shorter, has to have a punchier hook, right? We have to, dial in the story a little bit more, speak about why you should buy Uber Eats as opposed to just concluding with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to get through the entire ad to land on let's order Uber Eats, right?
Yeah, no, I think I rated a 5.
Yeah,
it's neutral.
Nice.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. So what do you get? What do you give it?
I would say, man, that's gotta be one of my favorite ones. But that's because I like Matthew McConaughey, right? You put Matthew McConaughey in it, and it could be for Cheetos, and I'd be like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah, I'm a huge Matthew McConaughey fan.
Yeah. All right, let's roll the next one.
Drink on the job, drink on the job. Everyone is drinking on the job. Drink. Yeah, everyone is drinking on the job. Drink on the job, drink on the job.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've seen. That's a crazy thumbnail with those bananas.
That looks like an interesting ad. Hey, why is Snape?
Yeah, why is Snape eating a banana? That's a good hook, or it's a good thumbnail. I would have clicked. I mean, okay, here's the thing. Liquid Death, incredible. They've always been incredible. They usually never miss. I don't think this is a miss. I think it's good. I think there's been multiple times. Like I remember I drove home to my mom's house, and then I got out of the car with a Liquid Death, and she's like, "What the fuck? Are you drinking a beer?" And I was like, "No, like it's water." So I think they're leaning into these like natural sort of like gut reactions to what their product is. And so for the people that already like their product, they're like, "Oh, like I get it." And then for the people that don't know what Liquid Death is at all, they probably buy into it throughout the whole beginning of that commercial, which is, okay, is this a beer company telling people to drink on the job? And then like there's your curiosity spike. And you're like, oh no, it's just water. And then, you can kind of come up with your conclusions of what you think about the product from there. When you think, okay, these guys are funny, these guys are cool, this looks a lot cooler to be drinking than an Evian bottle. And so I think it was a good ad.
100%.
I've seen, but the thing is, like, Liquid Death sets the bar so high on things they've done in the past that it's like, is that in the top 10% of what they've done historically? No, but I think it was good. I think
there's a few things that stand out to me as well. I mean, being in consumable and replenishables, this is a product that you consume when you want to be refreshed, right? It's water, right, or iced tea. And I think those animations, those B-roll shots of the cans really draw on that. I think it's such a miss when you have ads about food or drinks or anything that you're consuming that don't really lean into that physiological feeling that you get when you watch the ad. And then, drinking on the job. I mean, this is a demographic of people who are watching these ads that are like well suited to that sort of a message, right? We're about to watch one from Bud Light on beer, right? These are beer drinkers, the people who are watching the Super Bowl and getting really into it. How can we communicate to that audience to buy canned water, right?
Mm-hmm. I think a way to maybe make this more funny and have more shock is like, I think you could lean into the drink on the job thing, but imagine it was one person and the narrative was they kept getting fired from all of these different jobs. Like they try to be a policeman, they try to be whatever, and like they're getting fired for not drinking on the job. Or I think that could even be funny, is like you have this like narrative arc of, instead of just like random people, it's like, oh, this guy that's can't hold a job, I think would be funny as well.
I like that. Hey, yeah, you take it one step further and you make it Will Smith Pursuit of Happiness or some sort of link to someone that would make it seem like a continuation of a story that everyone loves.
Yeah, I think it was better than the last one. I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Nice. And would you buy it after watching the ad? Would you be like, I'm gonna get some Liquid Death? Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'd give it I really liked that one too. I gotta say, the teams that put these together, I think they're crushing it. I'm going to give that one an 8 just because I think that if we had a through line, a story, like you said, and some sort of continuation from another story, I think that the last ad did that pretty well with Matthew McConaughey in a boardroom. It felt Wolf of Wall Street-esque. So it felt like a continuation of that story and that character. So if they were able to, combine that with...
See, that was something that knocked me out of the Matthew McConaughey one. Because they had that boardroom scene where they were like, oh, like this is kind of the character from Wolf of Wall Street, but it wasn't. Like he had different hair, it was like a different vibe. And like that where I was like, wait, are you trying to do that? Are you trying to say this is the guy from Wolf of Wall Street? Because if you are, you're missing the mark. And if you're not, it's a little bit too close and like it's a bit weird. And now I'm not thinking about the ad. That was something that like
right.
threw
Good
me
point,
off.
hey? Good point, hey? All right, let's roll the next one. Bud Light.
You gonna go fishing tomorrow?
I got a colonoscopy tomorrow.
Fellas, I accidentally threw a lame party.
Okay, Ted.
They're on their way.
They're here. You call this a party?
Cul-de-sac party.
Launch. These beers are a metaphor for an invitation.
Is that our leaf blower? Party at the sack.
You are cordially invited to the end of the cul-de-sac.
This is incredible.
Your mower smokes meat?
Oh, a smoker cuts grass.
Hell yeah.
I spent most of my money on this.
New rig? Fully custom. How many Bud Lights can you fit in that puppy?
As many Bud Lights as it takes.
A lot of Bud Lights. It's a cul-de-sac. Hopper.
Bill, get off the boat. The HOA's already breathing down my neck.
Okay, that was good. Also a big Post Malone fan. Wow, you're just like picking like all the people I like.
That's my favorite one, hands down. I'm a big Shane Gillis fan. What's the backstory with this one? I feel like Bud Light had some controversy. They seem to have gone back to their roots with their audience here.
I think they casted it well because Post Malone was always known for having like a Bud Light even at like 9 a.m.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like if you go back and watch his old Joe Rogan interviews, he always had like a massive tall can of Bud Light. I think he's been quoted as being like I honestly drink Bud Light as if it's water. Like he doesn't look at it as I'm drinking right now. It's like I'm hydrating. He's like obviously facetious in saying that, but like so casting it, if you know that, it's like okay, this is a perfect person to cast this alongside. I think Shane Gillis is funny.
I think it's the same thing with Shane Gillis, right? I think that Shane Gillis is always drinking the Bud Lights. And I think that he was infamous for still drinking Bud Light when there was like a drama around Bud Light, around some of their previous advertising that wasn't good for their market, right?
Yeah.
So to pull these two people in, it seems like it's really good casting and it's funny, right?
I think it's funny. The opening, like the cold open of the colonoscopy, incredible. But then I feel like it tapered off in terms of humor. I think I love the fact that they said cul-de-sac 4 to 5 times because it's also just like a funny word, like cul-de-sac, like, oh, I'm invited at the end of the cul-de-sac. I don't know why it's funny, but it's funny. How would I make it better? This one-on-one interaction between Shane Gillis and Post Malone, I think they could have carried throughout. So it's like, do you want to go fishing tomorrow? No, I have a colonoscopy. And then there's these scenes of like what they're going to do. But if that conversation continued while all this chaos was happening around them, it would be like this like incredibly dynamic push and pull where like the person is just like, wait, so have you had a colonoscopy before? And then the reply is like, dude, you don't ask a guy that. And then there's just like this push and pull, and like you could potentially position the hierarchy of the relationship between those two in an interesting way. Like maybe one is like the alpha, and then the other one is kind of just like wanting to know more, or like has his own insecurities. But I feel like I didn't get to know them anymore and like their position throughout the commercial. So like I feel like it peaked really well and then told a pretty good story. But I think they could have kept hammering that like we're talking about beer and colonoscopies bit. Like maybe Shane Gillis just continuously has reasons why he can't hang out with Post Malone again. Like that would even be funny. Like, oh, like what about next week? I want to go do insert other masculine activity. And then Shane Gillis is like, oh no, like I've got a funeral. Or like, like if that kind of kept happening throughout, I think that could have ramped up the comedy to the end, whereas I feel like it fizzled off. But I agree. I think is it my favorite one?
100% though. I think there's some parallels between music here. Good music tends to have this call and response, right? A back and forth. And we kind of lost that as all the chaos happened. There's another thing from music, cone sound, right? Where all the sound is cut out. You see it in ads as well, where it just goes quiet. Maybe there's one line, maybe it's something funny, it's something potent. And that last line from Shane Gillis, I didn't even hear it because there was the Power of Love playing in the background. There's all the noise from the cul-de-sac party, right? I feel like a couple of those things could have made it a little bit more salient, right? We could have had a punchline, right? Something really impactful and punchy right at the end. I still loved it. I thought it was a great ad, but I would have liked to have heard that last line. I feel like it was funny. I just couldn't hear it past all the noise.
I think it was good. I don't know what what Bud Light's trying to position themselves as, but it also, on the back of everything that went wrong, they also had an opportunity to potentially play on like the division in America between right and left, and like those two characters could have been contrasted like drastically, and the cul-de-sac party and Bud Light could have been like the common thing, you know, like that could have been a really cool moment too, of just being like, Bud Light's for people that want to have fun. Like, who cares if you're like a redneck or like this super buttoned up like liberal dad that wears khaki shorts? Like that could have been really funny, and like that dynamic back and forth could have been really. But I don't know if they want to be that polarizing. Like, I think this was a safe ad.
Yeah, I think the nice thing as well is a through line with this ad is that this is actually what people are experiencing in small towns, on roads, in cul-de-sacs, when they're enjoying themselves, right? As opposed to, you know, everything that was happening in that Uber Eats ad. It's like most of it was not the context that you're in when you order Uber Eats, right?
100%. It was the most unrelated. Yeah, fuck the Uber Eats ad.
Right. Yeah, all right, let's roll the next one.
We've made contact with a new alien species, and apparently they're foodies.
Oh, foodies. The worst.
Mr. Ramsey, we'll need you to cook for them. You'll have access to everything the Area 51 test kitchen has to offer, including top secret alien cooking technology.
Wait, that's just a Hexclad pan. I've got these at home.
Unfortunately, it was leaked 8 years ago. The pan was developed using material from an alien spacecraft.
What?
Extremely durable, but low friction. Created to deal with a thick egg-like atmosphere.
You're saying the pan I used to fry my bacon is made out of flying saucers?
We don't have time for a science lesson, Mr. Ramsey. The alien ambassador is already here.
Whoa.
Not her. Him.
Hey, what's up, dude? You're an alien?
All famous people are aliens.
I'm not.
I meant like really famous people.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. Huh?
What do you think?
I'm a Hexclad fan. I have all Hexclad pans. They're a Foreplay customer. I like Gordon Ramsay. It's kind of boring.
It's a cool, maybe a little bit. I think it's a cool hook with the Area 51 thing that's obviously intriguing to a lot of people. I think the mascots is a great idea, right? Having a small, cute little creature. I mean, I'm surprised we don't see more of it after Minions, after Groot, after, I don't know, what's the little snowman in Frozen, right? I feel like this could be a little bit more of a feature in some brands' advertising, even though it was just a little scene for the giggles. Obviously, Gordon Ramsay, this is a celebrity-led brand. That partnership is great for them. I think it was family friendly, right?
Yeah, it was family friendly. I'm assuming that Gordon Ramsay doesn't want this to be a part of his ongoing personal brand, but the most iconic clip of Gordon Ramsay is "What are you? I'm an idiot sandwich." Like, I don't even like how many views does that have? I remember being like when Hexclad like announced the partnership, I was like, I can't wait for the idiot sandwich ad.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, I could
also
see that
like
being a personal branding thing. The reason why it's not being pulled on, but it would make one hell of a funny ad, right?
Yeah, like millions of views. It was posted hundreds of times. Not to say that that's the best Super Bowl ad. I also just think about, okay, what is like the Hexclad brand from what I've seen? And like they always use like a lot of really rich photos and images of like the food that you're cooking. And I think if like who is the person that's buying a Hexclad pan? It's someone that really enjoys cooking. They probably have a respect for food. And then when you say that it's like this like space age technology, the thing that I think about is like sterile microwave soylent type cooking. I wonder, I mean, maybe this is targeting people who are like, this is just the best pan, you know, but I think that's where it might miss it a little bit. I also think that, I don't know, like getting, what's his name? I don't even remember the guy's name. Pete Davidson, him saying like, oh, you're an alien. That's funny because the guy does look like an alien. Like, so like, that's funny. Yeah. I don't know. I give this one the same one as Uber Eats. Where it's like, yeah, that's a good commercial. But like the idea behind Super Bowl commercials is that you propel yourself from a brand marketing perspective, not like a direct response perspective. And like, do I think that that ad set the tone for what I perceive the Hexclad brand to be? And I would say the answer is no. Right. Like, I don't think they've ever tried to position themselves as this like, yeah, like they have like the hex pattern and stuff, but it's always done in this like tasteful, like luxury way. Whereas like that makes it, and like again, maybe they're trying to capture more demographically, like everybody needs a hexclad pan, not just people who are, you know, food enthusiasts. And if that was what they're going for, like maybe it hit the mark right on the head. And you know, like if that was the case too, is Gordon Ramsay the proper guy to even have on that commercial?
You know, it's interesting, hey, because if they're trying to move away from prosumer and they're thinking about the type of person who's consuming the Super Bowl, who's going to be watching the ad, it's how do we get penetration into more and more homes, more and more mom and pops, right? And maybe that needs to be a little bit more personal, or maybe it needs to be a little bit more shareable, right? I think that every single one of these Super Bowl ads has the potential to become, you know, the Old Spice level ad that gets shared around for years and years, decades potentially, because it's funny and it continues to be funny. It lives on past being an ad for the product. And if we're not super confident that we're creating that opportunity for that to happen, then I feel like it's a bit of a miss. Not hexclad specifically, but any of these ads, if you can't see it being shared in 5 years' time, then probably something else has to be done. Right?
Yeah, I mean, those moments are magic, right? I give that a 5 too. I think that's in the same level as the Uber Eats one, where it's like, this wasn't bad.
I feel like you can tell that they're, you know, it's a different part of the marketing team that's working on this than their paid media, than their direct response marketing, because it feels different, right? But it's got to be different.
Because I remember, like, and then again, maybe I'm just like too connected to the hexclad brand and the way that because like I went to this dinner maybe like last year that was put on by hexclad, like here in Toronto, and you know, all of the meals like told you on the menu which pan was used by hexclad or like how they used it, and they had their most amazing like salt grinders and pepper grinders, and I look at them as like luxury items, like tactile luxury items. And then when you put them in this like weird sterile movie set where it feels like a movie set, it took away from the product. Like the pan actually looked like a regular pan when you surrounded it by all of this stuff. Like the hexclad pan looks cool, and I feel like they dumbed it down by being like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of blue LEDs that looks like a streamer's room. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean. If I think about myself as a consumer, and I'm probably not the best representation of the person who's watching the Super Bowl, but I'm thinking about Teflon. I'm thinking about cast irons and stainless steel pans. And my pain points with stainless steel pans, things stick. My pain points with cast irons, they're heavy, I can't hold the handle, right? My pain points with Teflon pans, I'm never going to use them, right? So how can we identify those things short and sweet while communicating that luxury? And I don't know if this did that, but maybe it did do a pretty good job of reaching that mom and pop in a funny way, in an engaging way, and telling a story, rather than addressing pain points and all of this stuff that is much more important in direct response marketing, and taking someone from discovering the product through to being very confident that they want to buy it.
Right. I even think like, okay, they obviously paid Pete Davidson probably a couple $1 million to be in that commercial or something. Was that worth the joke that he looks like an alien? Like, you know, like this seems like they may have had like a deal that fell through with Pete, and they're like, how do we fit him into the hexclad commercial? Versus like, okay, like if I were to actually use Pete Davidson, like, what's his public persona? Crazy, off the rails, mildly manic, probably can't cook. Like, how do we lean into that as just like a comedian who like barely gets through life?
You're making me think of the Michael Cera CeraVe ad. I mean, that was such a good fit. It was so strange.
Yeah, right? It was strange, but like it fit from like there was no massaging to make that fit.
All right, let's roll the next one. This is Hims.
Obesity is America's deadliest epidemic.
This is America.
74% of us are overweight, and obesity leads to 500,000 deaths each year.
Why, you just have to stop eating, Jimmy.
This is America.
Something's broken. It's not our bodies. It's the system. Welcome to Weight Loss in America.
Like and subscribe.
A $160 billion industry that feeds on our failure.
Yeah.
There are medications that work, but they're priced for profits, not patients.
This is America.
This system wasn't built to help us. It was built to keep us sick and stuck. But not anymore. Hims & Hers offers life-changing weight loss medications. They're affordable, doctor-trusted, and formulated in the USA. You get a treatment plan designed by a doctor to fit your body, goals, and lifestyle. You deserve to feel great in your body. This is the future of healthcare. This is Hims & Hers. Join us in the fight for a healthier America.
Really good editing.
I like it. Yeah,
and really good pacing.
Mm-hmm. I really like how it's adversarial. It started with fear. It started with probably a little bit of shaming, right, to the consumer that's watching it if they are part of that demographic that's overweight. I mean, there's a statistical probability that they are, and then presents the solution, right, and gives them also someone to blame, right? It's not you. You didn't let yourself down. This isn't your fault, but we've got the solution, and we're in it together. Join us in the fight, right? I like that conspiratorial edge, that assignment of blame, and the removal of responsibility from the person who's watching it, from the consumer.
Yeah, like they even did the piece, like that clip where it was like that old TV clip where it's like, you just have to start eating, Jimmy. It's like anybody who like, you're like, oh, I can't stop eating, even though whatever. I think they leaned into the pain point and the emotional side very, very well. I felt it. The only part that I felt was like weird was like by the end, they were supposed to be like in the future state, it felt like, but then it ended with like, you know, this weird photo shoot with a bunch of obese people that are still obese. So it was like, you know, that was the only thing that like caught me off guard. I was like, wait, did they just start taking Ozempic or whatever or other semaglutide that they're selling, you know, on Hims? That was the only thing that I was a bit weird. But I guess maybe it would also be weird if it was a bunch of skinny people at the end. Like maybe that would be weird, but like you're also talking about weight loss. Everybody in that final scene was visibly obese. So like, that's the only thing that like threw me off, but I think the rest of it was great. I give this one a 7.5.
Yeah, I can't think of ways to improve this, right? I mean, maybe it's having slimmer people towards the end.
Even like, why do people want to lose weight? It's to look a certain way, but maybe it's to do other things. Like, even if these people were like living better lives, like whether it's, you know, it feels like a Viagra commercial where you're like running with your kid or something, but like just like active, not like posing in XL clothing or something. Like that just felt weird.
Active.
Like,
yeah, good point. Hey,
like be active at the end. Like you want to lose weight so you can do more. I mean, to be fair, like maybe the people that choose Ozempic aren't inherently trying to go skiing or something.
You've got a point though. Is even just picking up a ball to play catch with your son in the park? That would be a lot more compelling, I think, maybe than just a bunch of people in a studio, you know, posing together, smiling together. Right? It almost seems like a toothpaste ad.
But maybe that actually goes against what this product is, which is supposed to be a magic pill. Like maybe if someone saw that at the end, they would be like, wait, I have to take this and exercise? Because like that is the piece, right? Like that is the selling point of all of these drugs, is that it is a magic pill, and then you lose weight. And so maybe the best thing to do is have them pose in a cream studio. I don't. That was the only part that threw me off, but I thought the editing at the beginning was incredible. I also have like my own like opinions about these types of drugs, so maybe that's like influencing it a lot. Like I actually don't think that this is fixing America.
I hear you. Yeah, it's tricky. The question I was going to ask is, if you were their target demo, would you buy it? And it's like, well, there's a lot more information that goes into making some of these decisions. I think that part of that is what they're leaning into here, is the skepticism of, you know, American healthcare, the end result, which is obviously that people are obese and unhealthy. So by leaning into that with an audience that might be a little bit more skeptical, especially after the pandemic, and leaning into that common enemy being the healthcare system and all of its, I guess, component parts right now, pharmaceutical companies and so on. Yeah, it's an interesting ad. I like it. Yeah, not 100% on the product either, but I think it might be a step in the right direction for better products. So it's not.
No, I mean, like my opinion on the products is, if this is like, I do think that there's a thing about momentum, right? And so if you can supercharge momentum at the start, and you can get someone to lose 30 pounds without making any major lifestyle changes, inherently not carrying around that 30 pounds is going to make you healthier. But like the issue with these products is that it's just circular. Like the issue with pharmaceutical companies is that they want you to stay sick. Hims doesn't want you to stop taking Ozempic.
That's a good point.
But again, like maybe I'm just like too deep into this, like, and I'm way out of the demographic. But like if I was on the edge of taking one of these drugs, you know, they really much leaned into the fact that it was an app, and all you need to do is log in and you get a plan, and I don't need to sit in a waiting room, then yes, 100%. It communicated the value, and it communicated the ease of use, and the delightful experience. And so like, yeah, like if I was in the market, I think that I'd be like, oh, I'm going to check out Hims rather than going to my, my GP or something.
100%. Yeah, I think playing the adversary as well, the devil's advocate, I think that the pharmaceutical industry, or the health outcomes that are in the United States has created a market for, or space in the market for players like Hims and Hers to come in with the product that doesn't have the massive lifetime value of, I don't know, a prescription drug that you're on for life, right? Someone has to come into the market at some point and bring in a product that is, you can actually get off of it. You can solve the problem and leave. And hopefully that's what Hims and Hers are doing. I don't know too much about the product, but yeah, hopefully there's a few more players in that space. They might be pharmaceutical, or they might be like one step away from pharmaceutical and supplements, but that space needs to be properly filled at some point. Hopefully it's Hims. All right, let's roll the next one.
I absolutely love my Glide Step Skechers slip-ins. I just step in and they're on with no bending down or touching. And because they're Glide Step, it almost feels like I'm gliding on air when I walk. Let me demonstrate. Drop a beat. Glide Step, Glide Step, Glide Step, Skechers slip-ins, Glide Step. And that's how you glide. Go hands-free with Glide Step Skechers slip-ins. Glide Step Skechers slip-ins.
I'm far out of the demographic.
Yep.
I actually started doing this thing. I think you would like this. I saw this. I saw this in the Brian Johnson Netflix documentary. And every morning he has to put his sock on and his shoe on while balancing on the one leg. So you put the sock on, and then you keep that leg up, and then you grip around down, grab the shoe. And so it's like, just like, he's like, oh, like if you just do this for the rest of your life, you'll never not have good balance, like as you like age. And so I started doing it, being like, every day I'm going to put my shoes on like this. So I'm far out of the demographic. I've started like making it hard to put my shoes on. But I mean, it's funny. Like, yeah, like if I would, like my mom would be like, sure, like I'll get some Glide Steps or something. I don't know if the dancing would resonate with her, but it's funny.
Yeah. I think one of the cool things about this ad is having a jingle, having a song that includes the product, right? Sometimes I watch Super Bowl ads and by the end I'm like, what was the product? I can't remember. I was hardly paying attention, and there's got to be so many people who are drinking, eating food when it comes up on their screen, right? And if you're not, getting that message across of what the product is, and sometimes you're getting it stuck in their head, right? I can still hear Glide Step.
Yeah.
Right? I like that part. I also like that they use Martha Stewart. I mean, you got to use charismatic people in these ads so that people want to share it with their friends because it's someone that they really connect with, right? So it's weird. That one it felt shorter, but I think that was my favorite one. I give that a 10 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah. There's going to be some mums tapping their toes,
Yeah.
and dads and grandmas and granddads going,
Glide. Yeah. That's true.
That's going to sell shoes.
That's true. I found it crazy how ugly those shoes were, though. Like at the end when they did that like carousel of shoes, I was like, what the fuck? Like, guys, just like go into Midjourney and say like, make this shoe not look so bad. I couldn't believe how the purple ones are fine. Everything else was horrific.
Yeah. I mean, did they have to look that bad to do the job? It's interesting. I remember 5-8 years ago there was that whole online thing about tryphobia and fear of many holes. But now there's so many shoes that are just doing it, and people love them. People spend quite a lot of money on massive collections, walls of shoes, right? That are...
Shout out Rabba. Rabba's a big shoe guy.
Oh yeah, hey, yeah. It's a interesting. You learn so much when you jump into a call and you see a wall of shoes behind someone. You're like, that's one way to decorate your wall. Yeah.
Sweet. All right, let's do one more, and then I gotta catch a flight.
Sure thing. Let's jump into it.
I can't believe they let us back in this place.
What? No good?
No.
Oh. Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, boy.
So good. Oh, it is so.
This one's real.
Oh.
Now that is a sandwich.
I'll have what she's having.
All right, there's a movie reference, right? Some sort of movie. Yeah.
I don't get the movie reference. I mean, in the middle, I was like, do I want to watch a middle-aged woman moan? And I was like, and I literally thought, could you not choose like a hot girl? And then they ended with Sydney Sweeney, which is like the token hot girl of 2024. So I thought that was funny. I don't know who the first two people were. Are they like famous actors or something?
Yeah, and it's from a movie. It's like a continuation of like a movie
Oh.
that the demo would know. Yeah. I think because of that, it makes it very shareable for people who connect with that movie. But for people in our demo, it's a little weird, right? I'm watching that and I'm going, yeah, I get it, but I also don't want to watch this, right?
Yeah, but then for me, like the comedic relief at the end when it was like, oh yeah, Sydney Sweeney.
Right.
I put that one still above like the Hexclad and the Uber Eats one. So that one gets a 6.
For sure, me too. I mean, we just got to think about shareability, right? A lot of people are watching these ads, and for years to come, they can have an impact as opposed to just the first time that people watch them on the Super Bowl. And if you trade that opportunity just because someone has like a very detailed idea and they have too much power, so it's a bit of a shame. I've got one more here that I think we should watch before we wrap up.
All right,
let's go into it.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Refreshing.
It's kissed by the perfect amount of tropical lime.
I compare it to a kiss from a lime on the bay. Ooh, the moment I think of it, strange on the sea. Yeah, my flippers got whole Mountain Dew. It slips right on through watershed. There is so much as he can tell you, so much he can say. You remain my power, my pleasure, my fame.
Well, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. A blast of tropical lime. Good looking seal. None of this makes sense.
that was good.
Yeah, it was good.
I think I did what you had mentioned earlier, which was like give it like the opportunity to like breathe when those sharks were going by. I really like that. And yeah, it's got that like, I don't know, I'm thinking I got that like little jingle stuck in my head.
I mean, I can think for the Mountain Dew consumer or somebody who's open to buying a bottle of Mountain Dew, this is super salient, right? Like this is going to stick in your head. Like, why was he a seal? I can't hold the seal with my what was it? Fins? My flappers, whatever it was. It's interesting, right? It sticks in your head. It's a meme, right? That you can share with your friends and be like, what the hell? Why is he suddenly a seal? You know?
Yeah. And then you transition to digital, like a bunch of photos of like that seal holding a Baja Blast with that guy's face or whatever. It's funny. It's good stuff.
You've got to do something different.
Eye catching.
Yeah, it's definitely just, it stands out because it's so different. Yeah, I liked it. Very goofy.
Sweet. All right, I got a rip. But yeah, this was cool. I mean, I think anybody that's watching at this point, we're going to start doing more of these like live streams, not watching Super Bowl ads every day, but Jack and I have been thinking about doing kind of like a live stream, whether it's a community thing, asking like questions, reviewing roadmap stuff. We're going to start just like ripping a lot more live stuff on like the Foreplay channels and things like that. And so there'll be like updates in the email and all that kind of stuff. You want to plug kind of upcoming events?
Yeah, one last thing before we wrap up here. We have the Unverified Ad Awards on February 27th, and we have a webinar series with Social Savannah coming up. We've got a few more in the books, so yeah, stay tuned, and we'll see you there.
Cool. All right, peace out.
Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.
Bye.